privileged to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker today. J.K. Yoga founder Swami Mukundananda is a world-renowned spiritual leader, international authority on mind management, highly respected Vedic scholar and author who has touched millions of lives around the world. Swamiji has a truly unique background. He graduated from India's topmost schools of engineering and management, IIT and IIM. He left behind a promising career at a multinational corporation to fully dedicate himself to the spiritual path. Swamiji is a senior disciple of Jagadguru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj. He established J.K. Yoga with the mission to uplift humankind. Words cannot adequately describe the depth of Swamiji's wisdom, character, compassion, and accomplishments. His sacrifice, passion, and dedication to help mankind is extremely moving and inspires us all to transform from within. Swamiji is truly passionate about taking his teachings to the cutting edge of the future, the next generation. He understands that for communities to thrive, investing holistically in preparing our future generations is critical. Swamiji conducts programs and lectures at universities around the world, such as Yale, MIT, Stanford, IIT, IIM, and so many more. He founded the J.K. Yoga Youth Club to engage the youth in enriching activities to develop their character and help them achieve their full potential. Swamiji has been personally conducting J.K. Yoga Youth Leadership Workshops in collaboration with top-notch business professionals for holistic youth development. He inspires the spirit of community service in youth through programs such as Little Hands, Big Hearts, where youth engage in helping homeless children, a population of over 65,000 in the Dallas area alone. In addition, Swamiji has inspired youth to initiate their own community service initiatives like CAKE, Kids Assisting Kids in Education, which has distributed hundreds of laptops to disadvantaged high school children. We are extremely grateful to Swamiji for his leadership, vision, and inspiration in overcoming the obstacles of the pandemic to bring our youth hope, promise, and a bright future. With a big round of applause, please join me in warmly welcoming Swami Mukundananda.
Thank you. I would like to welcome all of you to this Global J.K. Yoga Youth Conference titled Ignite Your Potential. Why was this title, Igniting the Potential, chosen? Why have all the young participants chosen to invest their time in attending such a conference? Why have some of the most impactful personalities in the world, some of the most significant contributors, volunteered their time as speakers? And why have the J.K. Yoga Seva Dal dedicated themselves to organizing this conference? The reason is it meets a basic human aspiration to grow to our maximum capacity. all of us have this intrinsic urge within us to become better, to be better brothers, better sisters, better friends, better students, better teachers, employees, bosses, better human beings. This urge to grow pushes us forward at the individual level and all of humankind at the global level. We see how Olympic records keep tumbling successively. When the modern Olympics began in Athens in 1896, the world high jump record stood at 6 feet 2 inches. 6 feet and 2 inches was the world record for high jump. And it kept on increasing until in the 1960s there was a paradigm shift. There was a person called Dick Fosbury. He said, I will relook this and smash it completely. Until then, people would jump with their chest towards the bar. Often it was a scissors jump. He said, I will jump with my back towards the bar. He called it the Fosbury flip. People said he is crazy, it will never happen. And they nicknamed his attempts as the Fosbury flop. Nevertheless, in the 1968 Olympics in Mexico, he won the gold medal and broke the world record. Today, it stands at 8 feet and 1/3 of an inch. The pole vault record, in 100 years ago, it was 13 feet 5 inches. And just a few months ago, it was broken yet again. It stands at 22 feet 3 inches. However, physical achievements are only satisfying to a limit. And what really grows our personality is the expansion of our mind. One philosopher called Oliver Wendell Holmes, he said something very interesting about the mind. He said, the mind, once expanded to the limits of new dimensions, never returns to its original size. This urge to grow our personality, to become better, and expand the horizons of our mind and intellect is the universal common urge of all humankind. Where does it arise from? The Vedas inform us it is coming from the source itself. What does that mean? Our source, Brahma, Bhagavan, God. That source is infinite in extent. This word Brahma means infinitely vast. The entire creation is situated within Brahma, which means that source is bigger than the biggest thing in creation. However, there is a second definition to Brahma as well. Vrihatvat Brahma and Vringhanatvat Brahma. Brahma is he who makes others big. So God wants all of us to become the perfect version of ourselves. And the purpose of human existence is to reach the perfection of the evolution of our soul. Until we reach that point, we will never be satisfied. No matter what we do, what we achieve, there will be a hunger within which will keep pushing us. I have yet not become as I wish to be. I have still not done what I wish to do. I am still not as happy as I need to be. So, what is it then that is preventing us from igniting, from manifesting our infinite potential? Our beliefs. You may have heard of the Mensa. It is an international society of the super intelligent. You need to be in the top 2 percentile in IQ to be eligible to the Mensa. If you have ever traveled in United Airlines and seen their in-house magazine, it carries the Mensa quiz, I believe. So this Mensa's chairman since 1950 till 1980 was a gentleman called Victor Serebriakov from Austria. However, Victor was not always known as a genius. In fact, when he was 15 years old, his teacher pronounced, "You are so stupid, you fall in the dunce category, and studying is meaningless for you." Believing his teacher's words, Victor dropped out from school. For the next 17 years, he engaged in menial labor works. At the age of 32, he went to get recruited into the army. And they took his IQ test and discovered that it is beyond 161. Their measurement scale was up to 161. He went beyond. All they could say was that he is a genius. Now, when he realized that he is not a dunce but a genius, his life transformed. After that, he wrote books on the IQ. He used to do lumberjack work. He became an expert in that work. He became the lifelong chairman of the Mensa, whose worldwide membership had fallen to 4. He lifted it to an organization with representation in 150 countries. So what transformed his life so tremendously? It was the understanding, I am not a dunce. I have got infinite potential. Now the Vedas inform us that each and every one of us, irrespective of caste, creed, race, sect, religion, all and one, have got infinite potential. Why? Because we are not the body. We are divine souls. The body is made of matter. The body is perishable. The body deteriorates. But you, the soul, are not made of matter. You are divine. You are eternal. You are a little fragment of the supreme divinity itself. That is why Swami Vivekananda said, "Thou art not bodies, thou art not matter. Thou art souls immortal, spirits blessed, free and eternal. Matter is not your servant." You are not the servant of matter. Matter is your servant. When we realize we are little specks of the Supreme itself, then the sky is the limit. Which is the most powerful nation in the world? Now, patriots from all countries will say, my country is the best. Somebody says, the most powerful nation is America. Someone else says, India is on the way up and will soon overtake. But in my opinion, the most powerful nation in the world is imagination. This imagination has no limits to its capacity. Unfortunately, the same imagination can work against you as well, as happened with an eagle. Once, an eagle's egg was placed in the nest of a prairie chicken. When it hatched, the eagle chick, found itself in the midst of prairie chicks and grew up as one of them. So, monkey see, monkey do. It would cluck and flap its wings and jump from here to there, eating off the ground, because it was limiting its imagination. It was an eagle, and yet it had conditioned itself to behave like the prairie chicken. One day, an adult eagle was flying in the sky, and this baby eagle looked and said, "Wow, what bird is that? And how can that bird do such a thing?" The prairie chicken said, that is an eagle. It's the king of the birds. What it can do, we can never do. The baby eagle believed them and continued to lead its wretched life. What a pity! It was born to rule the skies. Its destiny was to be the king of the skies. But it was conditioned to flutter around on the earth. What held it back was its false beliefs. Similarly, when we condition ourselves to think we cannot succeed in life, that is a false belief. I call this the loser's limp. When I was growing up in India, India was the world champion in field hockey. So they would win the Olympic gold, and we little children would also play field hockey. Now consider this scenario. You have two teams playing hockey, and one team is on the attack. All their players are on this side. And all of a sudden, one of the players of team B has hit the ball, which has pierced through these players, and it is now on the side of team A, which is practically empty. One of the forwards from team B is giving the ball chase. And a defender from team A is realizing that there's just the empty goal and the goalkeeper. It's almost sure goal. He is running behind. However, after running 15 yards, 20 yards, he realizes, I just cannot catch up. So then he slows down and starts limping. The audience says, he had a problem with his leg. He's limping. That's why he could not catch up. This is called the loser's limp. Similarly, we can all develop our loser's limp. Some people say, people who succeed, they were born such. I am not a born success. What can I do? Now, I give lectures around the world. I always come across mothers giving birth to boys and girls. I don't come across mothers giving birth to born successes. I do come across engineers and doctors and MBAs and advocates and lawyers. But what does it mean? That somewhere from birth till that point of success, they did something which helped them become that success. So I do come across people who say, I'm a self-made man or a self-made woman. I made myself. But I never come across people who say, I'm a self-made failure. What do they say? They use the loser's limp. They make excuses. If we wish to ignite our potential, we will have to throw away all these and get out of our comfort zone. I heard that in North Canada, there are only 2 seasons. The first is the winter, of course, in North Canada. And the second season is July. In other words, the only time of the year when it's not winter is July. So in the month of July, the snow finally thaws in the countryside. And then the land becomes all slush. Now there, when a car passes by, these ruts get created, grooves, because of its wheels. And very quickly, the water freezes up to make a solid rut. That is why I have heard there are boards. Choose your rut carefully, because you will have to remain in it for the next 20 miles. Similarly, we tend to fall into these ruts in life. I cannot do it. I can never do it. But progress is accomplished by those who get out of the rut, who move out of their comfort zone. So how do they move out? Let us now look into this aspect. Think about where you were 10 years ago in your life, 6, 7 years ago. And then you made choices to get on to some social media platforms, to try some vices or addictions, to make some friendships and relationships, to choose some subjects to study or career paths to follow. These choices you made, they brought you to the point in life where you are today. Now again today, you have choices. The way you choose, the decisions that you make, will determine where you will find yourself 7 years later. What I'm trying to say is, our life is determined and fashioned in the moments of our choices. You choose repeatedly. If you choose well, you keep on progressing. That is how simple it is. Is today going to be the day when you choose, I will ignite my potential? Swamiji, is it so simple? I just choose, I will ignite my potential? No. You have to make a determined choice and choose it over and over and over again. Otherwise, like somebody said, Swamiji, giving up smoking is so simple. Said, how come? Every morning I give up smoking. But then after a few hours I start again. That is one kind of decision where you decide, but it's a weak decision. And there is another kind of decision which is prana paryant, a commitment unto death. When Mahatma Gandhi, he was not known as the Mahatma as yet. After his education in London, he had gone to South Africa with great ideas about how wonderful the British Empire was for the benefit of India and the world. And there he was exposed to racial discrimination. And all of a sudden the realization dawned that this colonialization of India is not good for its benefit. And he decided this is inhuman behavior, incorrect. I will not accept it. It was such a strong decision that slowly it launched a whole movement that was unprecedented in 5,000 years history of the world. With non-violence as the ideal, the biggest empire in the world was thrown away from India. That was a decision which Rosa Parks made when she was subjected to racial discrimination, and she said, I will not accept it. So the strength of our decision makes a difference. I've heard that one man went to Socrates, the wise old man of Athens, and said, Sir, I wish to ignite my infinite potential. Can you please tell me how will I do it? Socrates said, let's go for a bath. The man thought maybe, cleaning yourself is the first step in igniting the potential. He said, all right. And then Socrates took a dip. The man followed suit because he's my teacher now. However, when this Socrates came out quickly and this man's head was yet in the water, Socrates put his hand over it. Now he had the advantage of position. So the man first did not struggle for a few seconds until he realized he was running out of oxygen. And then he started struggling. But Socrates was holding firm. And finally, when he released him, the man came out. Socrates said, what happened? The man said, if you had kept me there for 5 seconds more, my life airs would have left the body. Socrates said, that is the answer to your question. Your question was, I wish to ignite my potential. What should I do? The answer is, when you feel so earnest about it, when you have that aspiration burning, I have got infinite potential and I am not doing anything about it. I need to do something because my existence now is worse than death. That will transform you. So this is one decision. I need to change myself. And the intensity is reflected in the fact that you have to repeat the decision many times a day in and day out, over a period of time. What happens then? Slowly the momentum builds up in your life. When I was a youth, in the age of most of the attendees of the conference, even younger, one of the common playing items was the merry-go-round. So the merry-go-round was like a wheel with its fulcrum on the earth, and it had bar around which you could hold. And either one child or two, three in conjunction would start pushing it. And when you initially pushed it, you would have to overcome the friction. It required a struggle. But we children did not give up. We kept on pushing, and it became easier and easier and easier until we were running along with it. And slowly it gathered speed, and we were running faster and faster. And when we were confident, we jumped onto it. It would continue. It had picked up the big the big momentum. Similarly, in your life, you have to build up that momentum. Choose rightly and keep it up. First, you make the choices. Later, the choices will make you. That momentum can work to your detriment, as the drug addicts, etc. realize, the alcoholics realize, oh my God, where have I reached? But you can make the same momentum work to your benefit. So, remember that success is not an event. It is a journey. And people who promise you instant success are cheating you. Those who say, take this lottery ticket, you will be rich in a moment, they are selling you useless dreams. Of course, there will always be TV advertisements showing the winner of the American Lotto jumping up and down in divine ecstasy, so-called, I have won $630 million. It's an easy way to succeed in life. But what the TV doesn't show is the 9 million losers. If those 9 million losers each was given just 5 seconds to say, I have lost, that would have continued for years on television. So, the probability of your winning a lottery is roughly 0.00001. If you round it up, it comes to 0. To invest your hope in such a tiny probability is foolishness. That is why it is said, those who wait for the jackpot are crackpots. The intelligent people are those who go about goal setting, and then the second aspect is goal getting. It's as simple as that. Goal setting, goal getting. Decide what you want in life. Understand what is the price you will need to pay for it. And pay the price. Because remember, nothing is going to come free. There was once a king who thought, I would like to leave a message for the benefit of posterity. He called all the wise people in his kingdom and said that come up with something that reflects the wisdom of our generation that we can bestow on future generations. These scholars, they looked up the various libraries of the world, and they made it all concise, the distilled wisdom, and brought it to the king. The king said, this is too big. People don't have time to read this. Can you compact it so it's accessible to all? The scholars returned to their conference table. They made it precise, 2-page extract and brought it back. "O king, does this satisfy your requirements?" He said, in today's age of WhatsApp and Instagram, who has time for reading 2 pages? Can you make it more brief? They brought it third time. This time it was just 1 paragraph. And said, "O king, is this good enough?" He said, "I was more inclined towards an aphorism. Something that people would just commit to memory and access it whenever." They went back again and this time returned with a sentence containing 1 phrase containing 5 words. Hearing that, the king said, "Perfect. This encapsulates the wisdom of our generation." What were those 5 words? Very important. There are no free lunches. That is how life is. You can aim for the highest, but remember, there is a price to be paid. To achieve any goal will require sacrifice, dedication, discipline, austerity. You have learned from your own experience, whenever you set out to achieve anything, you have to tolerate pain. When you wanted to improve your grades in school or college, you did not enjoy the extra hours in study, but you realized you would have to choose between the pain of study or the pain of mediocrity. When you were in the danger of a breakup with a friend, it was painful to humble your ego, but you understood the choice was between that pain or the pain of a broken friendship. If you get into the corporate world and start working, you realize that to prepare the reports for the boss and the company board through the night is painful, but that is the price you have to pay for progress. So everything that is worthy of achieving lies upstream. And to reach it requires self-discipline, dedication, and effort. That is the price for reaching your potential. I have heard of a survey that was conducted on people's TV viewing. And it was found that the average worker in an American factory watches TV 30 hours a week. The person working in the production line, his weekly TV viewage is 30 hours. The line in charge watches TV for 20 hours a week. The plant foreman watches TV for 15 hours a week. The factory superintendent watches TV for 10 hours a week. The CPO, production officer, he watches TV for 5 hours a week. And the chairman only watches educational programs when recommended. Do you see any sequence out here? It is very obvious. The more you are willing to dedicate yourself, the better you will do. So in today's scenario, the potential is immense. It is a brave new world where the opportunities have been ignited by three forces that have come together in the last 50 years and that are interacting with each other. The first of these is the information revolution. It has been so tremendous. The amount of information that a person in Europe was exposed to in the 12th century, you can get it in one Sunday edition of the New York Times. Sir Francis Bacon's In the Western World, 700 years ago, was considered the most knowledgeable. He had knowledge of practically every branch of knowledge known to human beings at that time. And what is the situation today? An ordinary youngster has access over the internet to 2 billion websites. The World Wide Web contains the knowledge of 1 million libraries. And with the help of mobile technology, all of it is available practically on your fingertips. So, this is the information revolution. And then is the technological revolution that made available the computers, with the help of which you can access this information, with the help of which you can work upon it to create new information and make that new information available as well. And the third is the communication revolution. The communication revolution has made it possible to transmit this knowledge in a split second throughout the world, where literally at the click of a mouse, you can convey knowledge from your Outlook box to the inboxes of tens of thousands of people around the globe. And in fact, with the help of social media, it can be made available practically to millions. And the consequence of all of this is that the flow of knowledge has become so tremendous. Practically, humankind is multiplying, doubling its knowledge every 5 years. And whatever is getting created, a majority of it, created by scientists in one part of the globe, in one field of academics, is made available to everybody around, who utilize it to again create something new. So this is like a huge glacier that has started moving. It's not going to stop. The question is, in this age of knowledge, with its infinite potential, are you going to utilize it or not? Once in Oklahoma, there was a Native American who won a lottery ticket. So he purchased a Rolls-Royce 100 horsepower car. He was living in his little village. He was a very sociable person. Now every evening he would take his car for a drive through the dusty road of the village. And he would meet people along. Since he was so amicable, he would greet them, sometimes turning to the left, sometimes to the right. Sometimes he would turn all the way back and speak to the people there. But in all of this, his car never had an accident. You may ask why. The reason was that he had never pressed the ignition switch. The car was being pulled by 2 horses. What an irony. It had 100 horsepower engine within, and it was being pulled by 2 horses, not utilizing the horsepower inside. Similarly, the Vedas tell us, look, you have an infinite horsepower engine within yourself. What is that? Your eternal soul. Without knowledge of it, you are like that Native American, not even aware of your potential. What is the problem that has happened here? The Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran calls it viparyaya, reversal of the intellect. Anityanatma dukkheshu viparyaya matirhyaham. When the intellect gets reversed, all the knowledge gets corrupted. Just like there was once a table with a bottle of whiskey on it. 3 mice were playing below. A cat jumped onto the table and knocked off the bottle. The bottle fell and smashed, creating a puddle of whiskey. The mice drank the whiskey and became tipsy for the first time in their life. One mouse said, "I am the king." The second mouse said, "I am the emperor of the world." The third mouse said, "Both of you become whatever you wish to. For my snack today, I am going to go and eat the cat." Their intellect had gotten destroyed. So the Bhagavatam says our intellect is also reversed in this manner. Now, how has it been reversed? Listen very carefully. Anitya, anatma, dukkheshu. First reversal. This body, made of pus, blood, stool, urine, mucus, we are thinking this to be the self. Who am I? I am this body. That is the first. This body is made of mud. When the soul goes, the body will go back to mud. We are not made of mud. We did not begin when this body came into being. We will not finish when the body does not remain. We are eternal. And we are on a journey. The purpose of our life is to reach the evolution, the supreme goal of the evolution of our soul. So even if we don't reach the supreme goal where we were in our past life, to progress from there at least. Now, if somebody is sitting in a car and you ask the driver, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm a Ford." You ask the next person, "Who are you?" "I'm a Toyota." Ask the next person, "I'm a Maruti." Are these people crazy? I asked the driver, "Who are you?" and they introduce their car. That is exactly what we are doing. We see ourselves as the body. I'm Gujarati, Marwadi, Sindhi, Punjabi, etc., etc. The first reversal of the intellect. The second one, the temporary things of the world, we are seeing them as permanent. We don't realize one day all this is going to be left behind. The British poet Thomas Gray wrote in his poem, Elegy in a Country Graveyard, "The boast of heraldry, the pomp of glory, all that beauty, all that wealth ever gave, awakes alike the inevitable hour. The paths of glory lead but to the grave." Ultimately, the material opulence and wealth will all be left behind. We came empty-handed. We are going to go empty-handed. The real wealth we possess is not the outer one, the inner one. How good have you become? How much have you decorated yourself not with this, but from the inside? That is the accomplishment. That is what it is all about. The foundation of achieving something on the outside is your progress on the inside. If you wish to create an 80-foot skyscraper, you have to create a correspondingly deep foundation. The Tower of Calgary in Canada, it's got 11,000 tons of steel in it, and 60% of it has gone into the foundation. So, this is the important thing, that things that are perishable, we are seeing them as permanent. And the third point, we are confusing where is true happiness. The goal for happiness is definitely correct. But where is the happiness? We are deluded about it. And that is the reason why there is so much of depression in the world. Now, there was the episode recently of a famous Bollywood celebrity youngster, Bollywood star, who committed suicide. And people asked me again and again, Swamiji, why did this happen? This person practically had everything that all the youngsters would aspire for. I said, look, it just goes to show that all this also could not make him happy. The happiness that we seek, where is it? Try and find out. Saint Kabir said, Pani bich meen piyasi mohi suni suni avata hasi. That fish is in the water and feeling thirsty. How ridiculous. Similarly, happiness is an inside job. You can grow it under your feet, but you have to understand that first. You have to believe it first. So these three things, if we can decide upon, we will then free up our mind from its reversal. We will understand that as little fragments of the Supreme, we have infinite capacity within us. We will set our sights high. And we will then aspire to go about it so that we don't die with the music in us. Like they say, so-and-so died with the music in him. That is the biggest tragedy. Let us all understand what we can do, how we can be, and let us apply ourselves to the challenging and arduous task of self-transformation, because that is the real success. It is said, what God gave to you or made of you was His gift to you. What you do with the gifts you have received is your gift to Him. I am delighted that the J.K. Yog volunteers conceived of this workshop specially designed for the global youth on this topic, ignite your potential, because that is the purpose of life itself. And a lot of hard work has gone into organizing it, I'd like to offer my heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to all the wonderful speakers who have volunteered their time to be a part of this. We will have an opportunity as they share from their life experience and their fountain source of wisdom. We will be drinking that divine elixir. What you are going to receive in this workshop is priceless. Its price cannot be paid in anything. The only way to express our gratitude is to imbibe it deeply and then share it with the others. So, finally, all the participants, I am so delighted that you had this understanding of the importance of this conference to become a part of it. And from my side, I would like to offer my sincere prayers at the feet of Radha Krishna and my Gurudev to bless you in your lives so that you truly become the most wonderful human beings who will make such a big difference to make this world an amazing place. With those words, I would like to once again express my congratulations to everyone who is a part of this conference, and I wish it all success for the next 2 days. Thank you all very much.